Hi there, we're back on the 67 Hail Hail channel talking about Hibernian 2, Celtic 2. I'm Hamish Carton, John McGinley with me as well. John, we've got a limited amount of time as always the case with these videos, so I think we should just get right into the debate that pretty much every person's talking about at the moment. Does Neil Lennon survive? Is he in charge in a few days' time when we take on Sparta Prague, and should he be?
Should he be? I think those are two different questions. I've got a funny feeling Celtic won't make any decisions on the back of a draw. As for should he be going, I do think so. I think I've seen enough now. You know, long-time viewers of the channel or the podcast or even the website will know that I've been wrestling with the Lennon question for a while now. It's not just about today. I don't see much evidence of improvement. I think he's been given a bit of time to change things around, bring in new players into the team, test out formations, test out starting lineups. None of it seems to be working, and ultimately the responsibility, I feel, falls to the manager. We're just too lacklustre in that first half again, just very passive, unfortunately. And the second half turned out, as we all know, fight backs are all well and good, but for me, a draw is not much more use to us than a defeat at the moment, just given the situation at the top of the table. And we're facing a situation where Rangers could be 11 points ahead tomorrow with, admittedly, I haven't played 2 games more, but it's not good enough, and I think nothing's going to change unless Lennon leaves. You know, it's not about whether we like Lennon or love Lennon, big Lennon fan. It's just about what I see on the pitch in front of me, and for months now, there's been a pattern, and we need to change it.
It was a massively concerning performance, but probably the most worrying thing is that I wasn't totally surprised. I wasn't shocked when Hibs scored the first goal, and I think we'll tackle that right now. They scored the penalty. When you know your luck's against you, when your goalkeeper saves a penalty and then an ex-Rangers player knocks in the rebound. I mean, you've actually, if it wasn't so painful, you've actually got to kind of have a wee smirk at that. Just everything's going against us at the moment. But you don't help yourself when someone like Scott Brown, who's meant to be an experienced player who's struggled so far this season, gives away just a diabolical penalty. Absolutely diabolical. Words can't do it justice.
Yeah, and I don't want anyone mixing that up either. I don't want anyone, because we're talking about the manager, feeling like we're absolving the players of any responsibility here. These Celtic players are far too experienced and have far too much quality and have been through far too much to be turning in these kind of performances this season, regardless of who the manager is. Standards were set when Brendan Rodgers was at the club, and for me, they've severely regressed. And that is not just on Neil Lennon. It's on the board and the chief executive, Peter Lawwell, as well. It's on the players themselves, and it is on Lennon, partly on Lennon. I think serious changes need to be made. Celtic are they've backed themselves into a corner here, and I think the way to fight our way out of it is to come out swinging a wee bit, and that might take the sacrifice of a club legend like Neil Lennon. As harsh as that may be to some people may still be thinking we're overreacting here, but I've seen enough now, and as a fan, I'm not happy with the way that the season is going. I'm not happy with these results, and we just need drastic change. It's not coming from the manager, it's not coming from the players, so it has to come from the top down. And I think I even said that on one of these videos a couple of months ago. I think change comes one of 3 ways at Celtic. We either sort it out on the pitch, the players pick up responsibility and start to show bits of magic. We've seen a little bit of that with Tom Rogic. The manager needs to have a tactical rethink and can change things in that way, or we need to change our manager. For me, the other 2 options were rapidly running out when I said that, and it's expired for me now. He needs to go.
I think after the Europa League game against French team, what were they called again? Lille. I think after that one, loads of people were pointing out the way we'd played, and if you'd offered us a draw before the game, we would have taken it. Now, you can't have that both ways. When you look at today now, you can't look at the way we fought back and went and go, oh no, there's a bit of fight in that team. If you'd have offered us a draw and you'd have said to me before the game, we're going to drop more points today, I would have said that's the end of Neil Lennon. So I don't think you can factor in the fact that we were 2-0 down and we came back and the players showed some sort of fight. I would argue one of the goals certainly was a penalty, and the other one was really, really bad defending and a good finish from Laxalt. The problems that are there, if we'd have lost 2-0, are still there. And all season, we have been papering over the cracks. Tannadice, Ayeti scores, papers over the cracks, an awful performance. We both did the post-match review, and at the time, we said, it's all about winning, that's what this team does. But we had to admit, at that time we were papering over the cracks. St Johnstone was an even bigger one, an awful performance. We scored 2 late goals. We come away, we do a post-match reaction, we're all smiling. There's been numerous others this season that bad performances have been masked over by moments of brilliance, individual moments of brilliance in the team, and maybe just a winning feeling. The Motherwell game, I don't think were particularly great either. And for me, as much as we've not won again today, we have papered over the cracks today. There'll be some people, admittedly only a few, coming away from that game today and going, well, we didn't lose, maybe you can build from this. For me, it's gone past that now. This is a horrible thing to say, but when Celtic scored their equaliser today, I didn't celebrate. I didn't celebrate at all.
I mean, yeah. I think the people that are still clinging on to it, in a way, I understand it. You know, people love Neil Lennon. People recognise the things he's achieved at the club, both as a player, as a coach, and then as a manager. But it's a brutal business. There's little place for sentimentality when we're all clinging on to the hope of making a sustained title push. And you think back to the 97-98 season, Rangers made us work for 10 in a row, right down to the last day. We didn't run away with it. And we need to, if we're going to lose the league this season, we need to push them all the way as well. We can't be giving up the season halfway through. We can't be 11 points behind in November, regardless of how many other games we've got in hand over them. It's just simply not good enough. There is obvious concerns about who we would bring in. There's not a lot of great options out there at the moment. And again, there's a concern that Celtic won't sack anyone off the back of a draw. I'm not sure how good that is from a PR perspective. And we know that Celtic are very much about the PR sometimes. So it's just a really tricky road ahead. A really tricky road. I mean, though, like you say, people wouldn't have been celebrating that equaliser. Some people will say that that's actually the ideal result for Rangers. They have the opportunity to go further clear at the top tomorrow, but at the same time, it possibly extends Neil Lennon's tenure as Celtic boss.
Yeah, it's the worst thing that could have happened to us, I think, us coming back there, and it pains me to say it, that us being 2-0 down, I was thinking at 2-0 and even 2-1, Neil Lennon was 100% gone after the match. I didn't see there was any way forward for him in the team. Now I don't think he'll be sacked at all. I think he'll be managing us on Thursday night, and I don't know where we go from there. Don't give a shit about Thursday night against Sparta Prague. I could not care less. Ross County next week, could not care less. It would have been a great time to get a new manager in, because he's got 3 games to work with his players that are. I know Ross County's an important game in the way that it's a cup match, but you know, the 2 Europa League games are basically meaningless matches now. We could have got a new manager in, and that late goal from Laxalt has kind of scuppered those plans. I think he should have just blotted it over the bar, to be honest. That's what I was kind of hoping. Obviously I'm joking there. I'm always glad to see Celtic get some sort of result from it, but I think the last 10 minutes has done us more harm than good. This is a team that's not playing for the manager, and I'm just completely scunnered as to where we go from here. This is an interactive forum, of course, so I'm going to bring in some of the comments, and they are coming in their tens. I've got to kind of read them before I post them as well, John, so bear with me. Why has our pace disappeared? Had speed and speed of thought to break down teams, but it's disappeared. Is young Strachan replacing Duff too obvious? I'll just fire through these, and if you want to jump in at any stage, John, let me know. Coaching staff look like they're watching a replay on the telly, like they can't do anything about it. That's from Autumn Glow. Also saying faith is fine as long as there's signs that we care. Yeah, I don't know, but I definitely agree with that. Cheerio, 10 in a row, every week the same, no attacking threat, swear word every time the ball's in our half, very poor. from that person. It's just a really worrying situation, but we've done this before, John. We have sat and done these videos before and nothing has changed. Things have certainly got even worse today with the result, but I'll ask you the question I've asked you many times before: what does it take for things to change?
I mean, we're defeats now, isn't it? And that's what's going to change things. I know we're being flippant about the point that at the end of the season, this point might be crucial, might be absolutely vital, and we'll be looking at this as a point one. But it's in the here and now that decisions need to be made. This can't be a season of regret. We can't be looking at the end of the season and thinking, oh, it would have been good if we'd won that game against Hibs. Oh, it would have been good if we'd got rid of Lennon. It would have been good if we tried to change it. This isn't the season for that. We can't afford it. And what does it take? I think it will take defeats, and who knows if they'll come. There could be a win next weekend. At the same time, another result like this is only around the corner. I do not believe this team, under this current management and coaching team, have it in them to show consistency. And that is what the issue is. It's not about individual results. It's about that ongoing trend. There's been a lack of consistency all season for me, even when we've been winning games. And there's nothing else to say.
Yeah, this isn't a team that's about to turn the corner and is even near to turning the corner. This is a team who are going backwards and are at an alarming rate. We've had so many bad results this season. We've had so poor good results. For me, there's a lot of people at 2-0 were saying 10 in a row is completely gone. I don't actually agree with that. I still think as much as we're could be 11 points behind tomorrow, I think there's a long way to go. There's still 3 derby matches. But if you're asking me if 10 in a row is gone with Neil Lennon in charge, 100%. This may be one of those infamous statements that comes back to bite me that I love on this channel, but we don't win the league with Neil Lennon in charge. Not a chance. That's not a team that are playing for Neil Lennon. And we aren't going to Ibrox in December and getting a result, which we absolutely have to. If we've got any hope of winning the league, we have to get a result. We can't lose at Ibrox. We're not doing that. We're losing at Ibrox with that team. The next time a big game comes round, like today, we're not going to perform. And he needs to go. I know I've asked you this question already, John, but is there any chance that he goes after? Is there any chance Celtic come out tonight and say, even though we came back today, the signs were too, damaging there?
I just can't see it. We both know, and we all know, everyone watching this knows the way Celtic operate, and you can kind of get a steer of what the club is thinking, unless there's a serious conversation going on right now, or unless Lennon decides himself it's over. I just can't see it. One of the pitfalls of doing this so soon after full time is you don't really get to see Lennon's comments. I have no idea if he's spinning it out as a positive result, an amazing fight back. That's his prerogative to do. He's entitled to do that. Listen. So I agree with what you're saying there. I don't think 10 in a row is over either, right? And getting rid of Lennon or Lennon walking away is not us conceding 10 in a row. No matter how much hilarity will be from the other side of the city, they'll laugh at anything. They're let them do what they want. This is about Celtic. It's not about them. We're not going to concede this league, whether Lennon's in charge or not. But I think a new management in place would be a bold decision. I think it'd be a forward-thinking step. And if it explodes from there, and our season falls apart with a new manager in charge, then we've just got to take that and accept it and think about the whole overall structure of the club. If it goes disastrously wrong and Neil Lennon's still in charge, all we've got is what have we got? We've shown a little bit of loyalty to Neil Lennon, who for me is a Celtic legend regardless of this year. I'll always welcome him back at Celtic Park as a representative of the club. Again, it's not about Neil Lennon either in terms of his personal contribution or his personality. It's nothing to do with that. This is just a simple, it's not working on the pitch and something needs to change.
I think that's a really good point you make about Neil Lennon. Nobody's conceding anything massively. It'd be terrible to see Neil Lennon go, because for me part of his Celtic legacy would be lost. Part of it because the hope was that he'd be the guy who would bring 10 in a row home. But if it's a choice between upsetting Neil Lennon's legacy and upsetting the any chance we've got of winning 10 in a row, then I know I'm going for Celtic all day long, and I'm saying, Neil Lennon, thank you, but we've got to do what's best for the club and we need to get someone in. The things that are against for sacking Neil Lennon right now there's so many of them. The fact that we're so far behind in the league now, and we'll be even further behind tomorrow, the European stuff, the way the team's played all season, the way players like Edward, who I thought was alright when he came on today, but him and other players are strutting around the pitch like they don't give a toss. What are the arguments against sacking him? What will Celtic be thinking right now? We shouldn't sack Neil Lennon because...
Okay, so they'll be thinking that effectively the gap is 5 points, which I don't buy at the moment. Given the way Celtic have been shipping points this season, I don't think the games in hand we have over Rangers are bankable at all, or certainly can't be taken for granted. But they will be saying, it's 5 points. They'll be saying, who do you get in charge? Who comes in? They'll be saying Lennon's turned us for him before. Celtic have turned us for him before. They'll be saying bringing in a new manager is too much of a risk with so much on the line this season. There'll be plenty of this patter over the next few days. And my issue here is that the way I feel right now, I don't think is a knee-jerk reaction. I've been asking myself these questions for months. The questions that I just laid out, and the argument for Neil Lennon has been going around my mind for months. And I'm simply at a breaking point today. It's not just about today. It's just the overall trend, and the fact that there's no reasonable answers to those questions. There's no reasonable answers to the alternative to the devil advocate question. For me, all only goes one way, and it's sad to say that.
I want to touch on something that you spoke about a wee minute ago. Mm-hmm. Is there a chance here we've made our bed with 10 in a row here, and we just have to accept the consequences? That almost as much as 10 in a row is the most important thing at the club and has been for ages, it's almost less important than just getting the team back to a level that they can play at. And in many ways, replacing Neil Lennon may not save 10 in a row. There's an argument it probably the damage is already done, but does getting Neil Lennon out and getting another manager in give us Celtic back and get the best out of these players again? Is that something that's been going through anyone's head or your head?
Yeah, well, I think someone hit the nail on the head. Is it's okay to have faith as long as there's signs of progress or hope. And right now, I don't have much hope about the Celtic team. And what a new management team does is gives you that bit of hope, or it gives you at least signs of progress, unless it goes horribly wrong. At least gives you something tangible to look for improvement or look for changes, or just gives you a new perspective on how things are moving forward with the club. Obviously, any new manager would be given time. So, yeah, I think, again, it all comes back to me just thinking this needs to be done. And yeah, that's it basically.
I just wonder if I need to see Neil Lennon's post-match comments, but I wonder what Tony will take, and he's probably already spoken. I wonder if Neil Lennon, I don't want to use the phrase man's up, if Neil Lennon comes out after this game and says that this isn't working, we've had chances, and does the big thing and does the best thing for Celtic. I don't know if Neil Lennon's too, whatever word you want to put in there to do that, but I just wondered if he comes out and does that, or if someone else, like namely Dermot Desmond, who we know that Neil Lennon stays in contact with after pretty much every game, phones him up today or tomorrow and says, Neil, you'll always be a hero here, but this isn't working. This is so clearly not working. This is not a blip anymore. This has been all season so far, and we're nearly in December. This has been half a season. We've had Ferencvaros, we've had Sparta Prague, we've had Rangers at home. Those three were bad enough to see any manager sacked. We've also had the Aberdeen capitulation. We've had Hibs today. Kilmarnock away was an absolute disaster. The Riga game. There's just so many examples of a team who are not playing for this manager. I think we can still save 10 in a row if we get Neil Lennon out and we get a manager in, because for me, I'll say it and say it again, that's the best squad in Scotland for me. I know they don't look like it today, but it's because they don't care. And I know that shouldn't mean that the team got off scot-free at all, but we all know how football works. You saw it with the Ronnie Dyler team. They're struggling to Rangers, they're struggling under him, get him the sack. 2 months later, Brendan Rodgers comes in, adds, I think, 3 players, and we're playing Champions League group stage football. that's a difference a good manager can make, and I think we need to see it now. This is breaking point. We can't do another one of these videos again, John. This is it. This is it. This is it.
See you on Thursday then. No, I just, viewers will notice that I had my phone open there. I wasn't being rude. I was checking the Celtic Twitter feed to see if there was any comments coming out from the manager, and there hasn't been any yet. So we are going to have to wait on that, unfortunately. Yeah, another big week again, Hamish. Another big week.
Bring back international breaks.
No, don't. I wouldn't go that far. What about that shambles? Oh dear.
It's probably another video in there somewhere, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Somewhere, yeah. Right, John, we'll leave it there. Okay. It's been a massively busy video. There's over 400 people watching us at the moment, which is quite a lot. Hopefully the vast majority of you Celtic fans. Take care, everyone. We'll be back early next week, and hail, hail.